eliminated, it looks like Eric Ten Hag's former player is going to be reuniting with him. Is it what Manchester United need?
Well, I think when I watched Elanga the other day, and obviously they've got a lot of, he's got a lot of potential and they've got high hopes for him. But I think that when you look at Antony and the way he cuts in, I was watching some of his stuff again on the weekend, and he gives me an Iron Robben vibe about him, the way he cuts in, the way he links play, his skills, the goals he scores. And I think that that's what they need more of, because I was watching Elanga the other day against, it was Man United.
Liverpool?
Southampton, yeah.
This weekend.
This weekend, yeah. And I didn't think he'd done enough of that so as Dalot can get outside. And I don't think they get enough goals themselves with a player coming in like that and then just curling it in. I think Jadon Sancho will probably be on the right-hand side trying to do the same thing, and that's why they need the wing-backs getting forward. But, like, this guy, you know, it'd probably be add-ons, and he's somebody that Ten Hag said, I want him, and, you know, they're going to make it happen. You know, if he can hit it off like I've seen what he's done in the Dutch League, and obviously it's a different standard to what we've got here in the Premier League, but if he can, he's going to be a magnificent signing.
And the fact that they've given Eric Ten Hag £80 million to spend on a player that is very clearly linked with him, that is very clearly his player, it's a message in a sense as well.
Yeah, and I think anyone who, after those early few results, thought there were doubts about the long-term future, I think this shows that there is definitely a bit of patience here that maybe there hasn't been in recent years. And he's developed Antony so much when he was at Ajax. I mean, he's taken his game to another level, helped him push on into the Brazilian senior team. Like, he's really transformed him as a player. And I think their relationship and their bond is so good that I don't necessarily think the step up to the Premier League will be perhaps too much for him, because he knows that Ten Hag will guide him through that process. And I think that's very different, perhaps, to bringing a player in from the Bundesliga or Liga or whatever, where you don't have that relationship already and you're trying to make that jump. Even Erling Haaland in those first couple of games for City, people were questioning how long it would take him to adapt, and now he's found his feet. So I think that sort of situation will be expedited by the fact that Ten Hag can kind of take him under his wing and say, you know, you can do it because I've seen you do it before.
Don't you think it will be harder, though, because the manager himself is trying to navigate himself and teach himself the Premier League ways? So how does he teach a player when he's still basically a novice for the Premier League?
I think, Sean, it will come down to the style of play, what he wants. And what he wants is, he wants him to be on that right-hand side, cutting inside, obviously, for whoever the wing-back's going to be, to cut outside, but more of a threat when he does cut inside. Because you look at Man United, they need to get goals, because obviously if Ronaldo's not playing at the moment, you know, especially what he done last season, they're not scoring too many. He will bring goals, and he knows what he is capable of, and this is why people talk about how much it is. I've got no problem with that. I think you have to pay what you have to pay now. It's just the way it goes. And like I say, if he can fulfil, because Ten Hag trusts him, he's going to be a top player here. I think,
I think Ten Hag is also, unlike some other managers that have come into new clubs, obviously Antony hasn't been part of the pre-season, but I think he's had such a long pre-season now where he would have been doing all that prep, and even once he finished Ajax, all that prep of all the other teams, to know that once he's got the players and he would have had targets at the start of the window, I think he would have known how it was going to fit, and it won't be that he needs to rush and for it to make sense. But, I mean, who knows, because United have been burnt how many times before?
But he's also, Ten Hag, made a point of saying the players aren't doing what I'm asking them to do. This is not about them executing my poor plan. This is about them poorly executing my instructions. So finally he's got a player in, pretty much, who knows exactly what he wants.
Well, that's exactly right, because, like, he's saying, you know something, I'm going to buy him because I'm telling them to do it, they're not doing it. And it's like I say, I wouldn't want to dig Elanga out, but, like, he's played a couple of games and I've not seen too much of that. What I see, the focal point of what I see, what he does, is he gets that ball, he's got great skills, comes inside, curls it in the top corner and stuff like that. That's what he sees that he can do. And he's bought somebody and it's cost him a few quid to get that done.
Is Ronaldo on the way out?
Well, he hasn't started the last couple of games and they've won them. Like I say, they're going to need goals, because last season, if his goals wasn't there, I don't know what would have happened with Man United, but I think that he probably is on the way out. It doesn't seem like he's not. Otherwise, he might have started the last game or the last couple of games, but they seem like they're trying to get through without him. I don't know if, personally, I think that they should try and maybe move him on. It might
even though the word officially is that, and Ten Hag is saying he's still part of my plans, it does look as though that move is drawing closer, whichever way it's been driven. Ronaldo has been not quoted, but his views have been represented in articles over the weekend where it's very much putting forward his point of view and how frustrated he's felt at Manchester United. Could the sticking point here be where he goes?
Yeah.
It's wages. I mean, really, who can afford
And
him?
the entourage that comes with it.
Yeah, I just don't know who can afford to take on that, everything, not just financially, but everything that comes with having a player like that. I think that's why he's running out of options. I mean, thinking about where Arsenal were with Aubameyang and how that went right down to the wire, as I'm sure lots of people have seen in the recent documentary, like how that went down to the wire and they had to figure something out because there were so few clubs that could afford to take him. And I think that's going to be the same situation right up until the deadline. They're going to be ringing clubs and saying, can you make space in your budget? And I think for United, it will be really important to make space themselves because they're not really offloading enough at the moment to free up probably as much as they would like to work with.
Look, it's horrible to say, but maybe it's time for him to accept he might be part of a team where he's in rotation and he's not the main person, because at the end of the day, he is getting old. He looks phenomenal. He still works hard, and as you said, Daddy, he still gets you loads of goals. But at the minute, it looks like the team's going in a different direction. They're picking up better results without him in the team. So maybe he either fits into the way they play, or he comes off the bench and does what he has to do. That's the way I'd look at it, because like Flo said, he's going to have problems getting rid of him, and at the minute, it doesn't look like anybody wants to take him.
As Manchester United are starting to build a bit of momentum, they've got Leicester on Wednesday, which, given Leicester's start to the season, might mean that Manchester United can make it 3 wins in a row.
Yeah, you look at Leicester, they look, even against 10-men Chelsea, they didn't look great. I thought Chelsea did do well in respect of defensively when they did go to 10 men, but they were still, for me, for a team with 10 men, still playing through Leicester very easily. And in the end, winning a game that I thought that Leicester should have been taking more advantage of. And, you know, we're sitting with Fofana, you know, it looks like he's going to be going to Chelsea and, you know, for big money. But the fact is that that's what happens with Leicester. They do move on, these players, they move on. And it does feel very much, with all due respect to them, stepping stony. That's good. That's the vibe I get from them.
The point was that space was always filled by a younger player who was coming up, or at least, like Fofana, had come in and developed a little bit before he got put into the first team. And that doesn't... It's the gaps behind the players who are moving on that might well be the issue. But Fofana to Chelsea, to play potentially alongside Koulibaly, looks an excellent choice for Chelsea.
Yeah, I would ask Thomas Tuchel how many defenders does he need? How many is enough? Because he is kind of stockpiling these now. But we know the issues they've had with injury, and they've got players who are a little bit older as well. So it makes sense for him as well, because he wants to play Champions League football. But yeah, I would be quite concerned about Leicester. And there's been these concerns now for well over a season, really. Last season was difficult. Fans weren't happy with that. I haven't had the best summer recruitment-wise. They've lost a lot of players, a lot of big characters as well. And you just don't really see where the reset and where the rejuvenation is going to come from. Is it going to be Rodgers stepping down, or is it going to be more players having to make way? Because it's just not working now. And he keeps coming out and saying, we want belief, we want bravery, but that's not going to solve a lot of his issues.
There are issues, definitely, at Leicester. They take on